Ask everybody to rise. May pledge allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to do roll call of membership and include yourself as secretary.
Alrighty, Dietrich,
Yes.
Lundin,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
and Schilling, yes.
To open today's meeting, I want to read a little statement here I put together. I want to announce that today's meeting, 12/19/2026 of the Henry County Board of Supervisors, we as a board will be able to discuss, have meaningful dialogue, helpful discussion, friendly conversation concerning items on today's agenda, but we as a board will not be able to take decisive actions on anything today. I won't blame shift. I failed to put a posting on the old-fashioned bulletin board out by the elevator as a requirement. The posting was put on website, Facebook, all that, other medias, but I did not, it was my duty to put it on the bulletin board, and I did not get that done. So I won't blame shift or blame anybody else. It's my bad, so. Game plan going forward, we'll have a board supervisor meeting at a later date to announce and formally come to formal actions on this. Sorry for the inconvenience if it caused anybody, but life continues. That's the way it is, so. First item of business, I'd like to do the consent agenda. The only issue on there is the approval of recent board minutes of February 5 and February 6. Those minutes have been made available for your review. Are there any corrections? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion for the 5th and 6th minutes to be approved.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor of indication of adoption of those minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The February 12 minutes are not available at this time, so we do not have the ability to read them, proofread them, and adopt them. So, moving into unfinished business, what we would like to do is have, like I said in the earlier, I want to just have good, productive conversation on the discussion of the Board of Supervisors, either appointment of the Interim County Attorney or talk about the implementation of the special election to fill that vacancy. And guys, it's our discussion. Is there anything that you want to talk about, share about, anything?
Sure, absolutely. As we look at the unfinished business here with the county attorney's position, I think it's pretty clear that when we read through Iowa code and also through the handbook for the Board of Supervisors, that it's our responsibility first and foremost to take action when necessary, and when a county official resigns, it's up to us to make an appointment. It says, first of all, we make the appointment, and then secondly, we can have the opportunity for a special election. And I think at this point, we need to be decisive in what we're going to do. This has been going on for about 2.5 weeks roughly. And according to Iowa Code 6914A, it's our decision, and I think we need to be making some serious decisions to keep things moving and progressing forward. I'm in favor of appointing an individual, and I would like to get that done sooner than later, because as we look at special elections, if we have one, the earliest date would be the end of this month, but more realistically, the end of April. So that just prolongs the situation. On the other side of that, as a steward of the county's funds, I do not believe it would be in our best interest to call for a special election. Special election has been estimated at roughly $20,000, I believe. And so I don't believe that it is up to us to spend $20,000. If another individual wants to contest the election, or they want to petition and get a ballot, get enough petitions to get on that ballot and ask for a special election, I think that should be their responsibility. That's where I am.
I understand everything you were saying, Steve. I've had discussions with people on both sides of who they would like to have as the county attorney. And my take is that if we would go to a appointment, we will have a special election anyway. So not to disturb the office, I would be in favor of going to a special election and let the people decide and not us decide.
So in that discussion then, again, it goes back to us to make the appointment. And so I think that we are pushing our responsibility off to the electorate because we're not willing to make a decision. That's the way I see this whole thing kind of transpiring at this point. I understand that the constituents of the county are the ultimate voters here, but in the short term, it really is our responsibility. We can accept, we would have to accept a ballot proposal for sure. But again, this continues to push this whole situation out even further. So we have a special election potentially at the end of April. We get somebody in the office, and then we're going to do another election in November or so. I think it is the responsibility of whoever wants that office to do the work, and if they're really serious about it, to get the signatures and present the position to the auditor and to the board of supervisors so that those dates can be set.
I'll ask Heidi a question, is what's the earliest date that you have?
If you guys decide today or Monday, whenever you have the next meeting, to do a special election, we get it in the paper by Thursday, that would give them about 3 days to get 50 signatures. We could possibly do it on 3/31. That would be the earliest if you decide by like next week. What's up?
The code says there needs to be like 32 days between publishing and the election date. I haven't done the math on that, but just make sure you account for that 32 days from the final publishing to.
Yes. Yeah. So the 30. Let me look at the calendar. So
Technically, we should be there. It's 31 days in March, so I'm just.
yeah. So the 32nd day from the election would be the 28th of February. So if it's in the
March.
paper. No, because the election would be day 31.
But 32 days from today or whenever out, not February.
No, from the election, 32 days before.
Oh,
So if
the
you guys,
28th, okay.
yep,
Right, okay.
yep. So if you guys do everything that you need to do next week, you possibly could do it then. It's going to be a very small crunch time to get everything done. If everything goes smoothly, other than that, it could possibly be April 28th. It is also up to Robin, whatever date she wants to decide, because it is up to the auditor's discretion of when an election is.
Correct.
So that also factors into it as well. So.
I look at this as a big issue, regardless of who wins. I can see both sides of it. Steve, I can see your side of it by the appointment. That same code that you cited also gives a second route for a special election. We want to be clear that a special election is not paid for or funded by either one of the candidates that ask. That it still comes back to the county, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And roughly $20,000.
Yeah, estimated, that was the ballpark figure. Talking to a gazillion people, figuratively speaking, the boil down on this seems to be that if one is appointed, the other party will choose to go with the petitions and get the election. And if the other party, it's either way, it's both directions. With that said, I mean, are we doing anything but prolonging it 14 days?
No, I think so. I think, again, it behooves the individual that wants that election to go through the work and the process to spend the $20,000 for the county.
Or does
Rather
it just
than
postpone
doing
it for 14 days?
Perhaps, but on the other side of that, we make an appointment so that we can continue business and keep business running in the county attorney's office.
Are we not doing that right now?
I think that would probably depend on who we talk to, right?
All right.
I think we heard from Sheriff or City Police Chief Murray a couple of weeks ago, who would probably argue against that particular case, right? I'm not sure where our sheriff is or the rest of the county, but I think there's some opportunity to improve on that, obviously.
Oh, I think there's room for improvement on anything that we do.
Well, that's in general though, if you talk about backlog and what Chief Murray had talked about, there's some opportunity for some significant improvement there.
I also look at this as a voter issue. I mean, I think this is something this large, this important, I think needs to come right back to the voting public of Henry County. That will allow each party to get out there and let it be known. I've intentionally distanced myself from both of the people, not wanting to seem biased or opinionated or anything like that. I just want to stay in the middle of that because I'm gonna have to work with whoever is in that office. I think that is a decision that would go to the voting public as a whole, because I think there's big interest in it. I do. It's not gonna be 102 people vote in this election. I think that would be a well-attended, well-taken-in special election for this, because it's an important decision. I guess I'm in favor of going with the special election side of it. That way it allows the voting public a voice in it, and, you know, as we've heard, we the people, we the people, we the people, well, we the people would have that option.
I understand what you're saying there, but we the people, let's just take it back a half a step here. We the people that signed the petition. 566 people signed a petition potentially to get a ballot, to get to a special election. So I think that covers that pretty substantially. So if those people can get 566 signatures, great. You know, that's their right.
Yeah.
Okay, according to Iowa code. So, but again, I take it back to the whole situation of we need to make it and take action in order to allow us to continue to function as a county government. Otherwise, to your point, we're gonna prolong this another 14 days and potentially longer, depending on whether or not we hit all the timelines and when the auditor says that we can have a special election. You know, we have printed in Burlington Hawkeye, I believe it is, or is it the Southeast Beacon? I don't know which one that is. We were gonna talk about that and make an appointment today. So, you know, we're starting to hit some of those timelines that we need to hit in order to be able to make this process work. But again, it comes back to our responsibility as supervisors. I think we're shirking our responsibility by saying, let's have a special election.
Heidi, would it have to have all polling sites open or just one general site?
Again, that would be up to Robin. She could decide to do one like we did for the school special election and do it at Manning Hall, or she could decide to do all 9. That's up to her.
Anything further?
No, you can rest in. I'm pretty firm.
Mark?
I have nothing else.
You know, I've talked to parties, trusted individuals through the county. You know, I look as my position as a representative of the people, not just making a determination on my own will, if you will. I wanna look after the whole of the county. You know, part of the reason I've taken this road, I think it's cleaner. I'm a member of the Republican Party. I'm a member of the Central Committee. We all ran with the Republican ticket on our name. I think there would be people that just scream bloody murder, that this is a one-sided shoe-in if we would, go with one party.
I understand what you're saying, but to that very specific point, if that's the case, and then you wanna make that argument, there's a platform, and there are fundamental basics that you would have adhered to be able to do that, right?
Mhm.
So, for you to say that I am going to be neutral in that discussion, that's a little bit of a challenge. I don't see
You
any
know-
political party in this country, any elected office in this country that says, I don't believe in my values or my platform, and I'm just gonna go out and pick a candidate, or pick an individual to fill a position.
I personally feel that as my role as a county supervisor, I should not get involved in that. I should, you know, what I do in my off time and what I do behind the curtain is one thing, but endorsing or doing anything for
I don't know if it goes to that particular perspective. Again, it goes back to the particular candidates and what you believe those values are from the particular candidates to appoint the right individual. But again, when you look at that from a broader perspective, I think, to your point, you know, 51% is a majority in this country, whether you like it or not. 51% is a majority. If we have an 80-20 issue, windmills is a really good example. That was what, 95-5 issue. You know, this would get back to the same situation. If you're talking to people, I've talked to people as well, and they say, just appoint someone. Let's get this over with. You're dragging it out. That's what this county does, is procrastinate. And that's why we have a festering of situations and problems that have never been resolved. And now they're kind of coming to a head. And we kind of look like a mess in front of the world, but we're getting it resolved and we're getting it fixed. But again, it comes back to our ability to make decisions. And this is a decision that falls on us. You know, the first decision is we can make a special, an appointment. The second decision would be, are we gonna have a special election? They didn't put it the other way around in code. It was not special election or appointment, it was an appointment or a special election. So, you could probably argue that from a legal standpoint as long as you wanted to, but again, it came out to the first perspective was make an appointment. And if people don't agree with that, then in our county, 566 people can get together and say, hey, we'd like to have a special election, and we're willing to pay our $20,000 to do that.
anything further?
So our decision would be.
Oh, we
have a
can't
vote.
ma- we
No, I
can't.
mean, but we would have to make a decision to have a meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
And we could do that right now. We could set up that meeting for the formal memorialization of what we wanna do. And, you wanna do that on the 23rd? We are scheduled for a 10 a.m. budget work session that day.
I'm available tomorrow after 10 o'clock or after, we have 10 o'clock on Monday, either one.
Does this have to be posted for 4 days, or are we good?
We would have time to post it right now if we had it at 10 o'clock, either day.
I'm good with a Friday if you wanna do the 20th
I don't care which we do.
at 10:30 to give you a little bit of work time to get something posted.
Okay. So tomorrow at 10:30?
No. Again, it has to be posted. Help me with this, Abby, you're the legal expert
So
in the room.
what you're doing right now
4
is
days.
you're setting a meeting to decide whether or not you're going to appoint or have a special election. that could be Friday, that could be Monday, whatever you guys decide, and then afterwards, you have to give that 4 days
notice.
afterwards to make the appointment if that's the route you're gonna go.
Thank you.
10:30 tomorrow?
Fine with me.
Let me double check. Yes.
Okay, that works.
So Abby, do we need a motion on that?
You can't
We
make
just can't do that.
Not today.
Just say we're having a motion, just having a meeting.
We're just setting the meeting.
Sounds good.
Can't take action, but we set a meeting.
Number 5, committee updates. Farm Bureau report from Mark.
Okay, I had the pleasure Monday evening to go to the Farm Bureau meeting. Every year, the supervisors are invited to the Farm Bureau. Good discussion with them, and I always look forward to it. It's just a fun interaction with them. The major topics were budget, and they understood the parameters that we are under with our budget, as far as the 2% growth and all that. I explained to them also, they did know for the most part, but they did like hearing our local option sales tax, and that close to 50% of it goes to the road department, and the other is for, the majority of it would be for our rural services of our trash and recycling. Another issue that brought up to us was, or to me, was fencing, and how do we handle fencing disputes, or what they need to be doing, whether they need to get some traction and end up coming to the Board of Supervisors or take it to court action. So that was the major discussion there that evening. And they're looking forward to the next special guest that they might be having, we'll be having, so, next month.
Does that mean you?
Yeah, if I'm special, yes. So, yeah, they did reach out to me. I scheduled that for March.
And then, these are committee updates in at the time, Chad?
Yes.
I'll continue on. I had, community action in Southeast Iowa, yes, on Tuesday. We approved, just some changes in the Head Start calendar, and there was no significant, issues at all. We had our audit last time, and we had to approve it finally. And then also last Friday, I had Great River Regional Waste Authority, and we had interviews, second round interviews with the candidates for a new general manager, and then made no decision. And then yesterday morning, we had a special meeting, and we had, I made an offer to a gentleman, and I do not know the outcome of that if he got appointed or not. So what the chairman was going to go and be talking to him from there. So those are my updates.
Thank you. Steve?
I have a Great River Housing Trust Fund today at noon in Burlington, so that's the only thing I have from a committee.
Well, then one other thing I did make you two aware of earlier, since Tim, you're here in the room, there's legislation that could be coming down to change us from a convenience center to a transfer station.
Okay.
And I've already talked to an engineering firm, so make sure everything will be okay.
Okay.
So if you hear anything, it's already being looked at.
Okay.
And what I had with Mississippi Valley Workforce Development is the eastern coast of Iowa along the Mississippi River Channel, including Lee and Henry County, recently merged and joined forces with the South Central Workforce Development group down there. We are in the process of putting together a board and all the executive committees and everything for that, so it's representative of the whole grouping. They sent out an email notice that if anybody has any like union presidents or CEOs of factories with a sizable labor force, they would like to tap into that expertise and be a voice for the workforce development for this area. So if anybody in Henry County might be interested in something like that, we could put your name in the hat, and it would be a discussion from there out with the board, Mississippi Valley Board. So. Engineer Hotchkiss, next item.
Pass that back to Tracy William.
Okay, so the first item here is we're gonna just be opening the sealed quotes that we received, for quarry crushing. We went out to get, prices to see what it will cost to crush, it's 100,000 ton of product of roadstone, and then we have to pay for the lime. There we estimate around 10,000, tons, so the total would be 110,000, and then this is a sheet if you wanna follow along to write the numbers down as I open them up. Thanks.
Say 100,000.
Correct. Yep. And this would be an equivalent of a 2-year supply to add to the, roughly 2-year supply that we had crushed out of last fiscal year, so. All right, first one here is with Dowd Stone. And again, we're just opening the day. I would bring a recommendation, with you guys at another date then. Okay, Dowd Stone has a price of $8.25 a ton. $8.25 a ton for $907,500. The next one is Bruning Rock Products. They're out of Decorah, Iowa. $7.55.9. So $7.55.9 for a total price of $831,490. It's kind of like the SCA provided. $831,490. Last one is with Preston Ready Mix. So we made, on your table, that's who we invited for the sealed quotes. And then we've heard back from 3 and no response from the other 2. Preston Ready Mix has a price of $7.05 per ton for $775,500. $7.05 a ton for $775,500. So that's great. That's actually less than what we paid the last time around for rock. Don't quote me on that. I was budgeting $8.72 from the last time, so it came in well under what we were anticipating, and I'd have to double check. I'll let you know next week on that one. I don't want to misspeak on that, but I thought it was right at $7, so it is just a little bit higher than last time. So
What was your budgeted amount?
$960,000 is what we put in there. Now that number, usually whenever I do budget is higher, cause as we get in there, sometimes we'll add a product, like they might make some extra riprap for us and stuff that we'll request on the side for typically the same price that we're looking at. So I do have a little bit extra there, but obviously this came in under, which helps another problem that we ran into with our excavator. So, that's where some adjustments will be made, and that's an area today that it's nice to know that we've got that to make that room, so. Yeah, any questions on that?
What do you do with the lime? You stockpile that and then,
Correct, and then
Sell that.
periodically, we open it up to where we get a list of people that, have an interest in it from the, typically it's Henry County residents. And then we will load, for a couple days, that we'll have an operator out there, and then we sell that. I think right now we're looking at around $5 a ton. So, one of the discussions was, should we just go ahead and sell it for the same amount that we're paying to crush it? And that's something that we just haven't addressed yet, so we haven't had a chance to do that this year yet to sell it, but, it is a waste product on our part. We are not necessarily in the business of selling product routinely, but since it is a waste product, we do ask for something.
recoup a little bit of that.
Sorry?
That's good.
In the past, it was considerably cheaper than that, like, I think it was like $1 a ton that we just to get rid of it, so, there's been more interest in it, so the question then comes in, do you look at trying to recoup your crushing cost and make that the price if they want to do it, so that's something that we can probably discuss at a later date if you guys want to.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, we should, but yeah, at least $5 a ton, so make sure we recoup some of those costs, at least for loading and taking care of that aspect of it as well.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so again, we just opened that. There was a resolution, since we can't make an action on it. I think that's printed to you there.
Yeah, Tracy said it.
So just to save my time reading it, I might just give you a real quick synopsis of what the resolution is. This is for the RISE grant that we're working on with the city of Mount Pleasant for out at Goodyear Road and 235th Street or Washington Street. It's considered a road diet for around that intersection. We're wanting to add turn lanes for Goodyear and 235th Street, Washington Street. So when you come on and off of that, you have a place to get over for turns so you're not in traffic. And then there's a place for you to get into the road with Continental expansion that they're providing or what they're looking at doing to break ground this summer. We have the opportunity to go after this RISE grant to help support what their expansion is going to be. So the idea is that we would update that intersection to get traffic moving smoother with truck traffic. That would be, we want to push truck traffic south versus going west on Goodyear Road, obviously, so the easier that access is, it's better for everybody in the neighborhood, I guess. So those are some improvements that we're going. We did go after an HSIP grant as well that we applied for, and we did hear some good news on it. We don't have official stuff, but it does appear like we will get some dollars from that as well to help offset some of the costs that we would have. So Southeast Iowa Regional Planning is putting the grant together for us. The idea would be is to get this resolution done. It's one of the city will pass their resolution, and then they'll be finalizing that grant application. And the goal right now is to get that submitted off that first week of March to get that in. And with the way the RISE works, my understanding is they take applications year round. So as they get it, they will actually address the application that they would have in front of them to do that. So that's the process right now. So my question to you is, do you want, probably don't mess with it tomorrow. I don't think that's a big issue for tomorrow, but on Monday, do you want to have that on, or do you want to just wait till Thursday to put that?
Is there any benefit either way for you?
I think the biggest thing is just to get it back to regional planning so they get moving on their stuff. I would assume Thursday will be fine, if you want to just wait till next Thursday. I don't know if you've published Monday yet at all. Okay, so it's up to you guys. If you want to just make it part of business on Thursday, that'd probably be the cleanest.
If you find out something different, you can always let Heidi know and we can,
I think with the goal that it's just mainly inserting that with the idea that you guys do. Now, the resolution does label the county as lead applicant for this, and originally we were looking at the city, but with obviously the city administration traction that they had, we felt like it was better for us. Regional planning will work through the process to help with as much as we want them to do. They do have a little bit of a fee that they would take on, and those are decisions that we can make later if we're awarded it. So essentially at this point, we're seeing if we are eligible to get the dollars first. Okay, no other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, a permit, I do have a permit, and that's just normal business, I don't think there's any issues there. This is a permit with Windstream, to do an expansion, it's basically just to serve as a home from some work that they've done in the past. Andrew has looked that over and is good to go with that, so started this one, that direction. Maintenance update. Last week, we've been doing a lot of the same stuff here lately. The boom mower's been working in the southern part of the county. It's now moving over to the southeast part of the county, working. Our dirt patcher's been out. We found some different product to use for the rock chips. They're a little bit smaller, a little more uniform, and it seems to be working pretty well. We do have to travel a little farther to get those, but they've been working on crack filling and filling potholes. Today, they're up in the Winfield area today working. They're just north of Winfield, and then kind of progress around on roads, on pavements to make the rounds. Territory operators have been blading. It's kind of off and on as far as the weather allows. And then quarry cleanup. So last week and a little bit into this week, we've been doing some work up around our shed just to get rid of, taking some scrap metal to sell and just do some general cleanup to get things ready. So when ITC doesn't want to come in, we have what we've agreed to allow them for space, and as well as getting ready for potentially rock crushing to come in. And then we've been doing first aid, CPR, AED training. It's an online course that we do with all of our staff. Essentially, our MSHA certified employees are the ones that get the certificates. All of our other employees sit in on us. We break it into groups of 4 to 5 that sit in. So we are finishing that up this week. Again, just to make sure everybody's aware of the technique that if it's ever encountered or where we're at, that we provide that for the guys. Miscellaneous and construction. Lexington Avenue, this is a new one. So this is between 110th Street and 115th Street. We'll be closing that next Monday, the February 23rd. Yeah, next Monday is February 23rd. 8 to 10 weeks is what we're looking at, and that's weather permitting. The contractor is Iowa Bridge and Culvert. They are wrapping up things with their work down on Fremont right now, so they're gonna have their sub come in and do the bridge removal and do the excavation, and then they'll be moving in to start working on a concrete footing. So again, this is in the northeast part of the county, just off of 218 there, and it's using BR funding or bridge federal aid dollars that we're using to replace it. Fremont Avenue, kind of alluded, concrete work is completed. They've got the form stripped. They're gonna be starting backfill tomorrow, so they'll have their maturity of the concrete tomorrow, and they're gonna start backfilling. Today, they're working on some bank shaping that they're doing for us as well. Project went well as far as the weather cooperated once we got through that first 2 weeks of cold weather, and then the weather turned around. It was good weather to do the concrete work out there. Again, we will move in after they move out to start working on backfilling the remainder of the box. So they're responsible to get us to the top of box, and then we'll work on the remainder of that. So again, we'll be following up behind them with our work.
Is that any trouble or issue with you with the excavator being down?
Yeah, so one of the things we did is we worked out with the contractor to do some of the bank shaping for us there. And then we'll work on our road work that we need to do. And then we have a few items that we have to do as far as some of our temporary agreements that we have, like with some of the fence stuff that we worked out with the landowners that we'll have to come back later once we figure out what we're doing with the excavator. So we're not gonna have the contractor deal with that because those are a little bit trickier to figure out costs and what it's gonna cost to do that work. So we'll take care of that, but it'll just be at a later date. And then the last item I had is, or not last, the last one listed here is 235th Street. The bridge contractor is working on removal of that west pier again. The cofferdam is complete. They're actually down in there. They moved a little mini excavator in there, a smaller excavator to work on chipping out the old footing. The grading contractor has moved in, is working on a revetment trench on the southwest corner, so they've been hauling in riprap, and then it's basically a stability change to that project to make sure our slopes are stable after we get the bridge done. So the bridge is all on foundations, but the soils around there and stuff from previous years with that older bridge had some issues, that we're doing this revetment trench to help retain or resist any other issues that we would have out there. So that's part of the soil design that we've hired out to get that taken care of. It was incorporated with this project. The last thing I had was, this was just a little update for you guys that you can take some time to read through it. Just putting it together. There's a lot of bills out there right now with the state that they're talking about different options and how to look at different things. One of the things I would say is a positive is that they're talking, at least from the road department side, is looking at indexing. I'll just read this first blurb here. So, Senate Study Bill 3001 has a provision being discussed to index the road use tax fund. And again, this would be a maximum of 3% or CPI or cost of the consumer price index, whichever is less. This would be beneficial to secondary roads to provide stability when considering inflation issues. The Iowa County Engineers Association is in support of indexing the road use tax fund. And we stress that indexing alone is not a replacement for funding roads with property taxes. So some of the language out there is, I think there is some talk that maybe that's gonna offset. I just wanna be clear to you guys, we think it's a positive, but we need to be careful that it's not gonna be it's not the solution, for everything with roads. So, and again, I give you an example here. Let's say it was a max of 3%, increase with, the consumer price index was 3%. That would equate to roughly 1 cent, on the gas tax, which equates to approximately an additional $45,000 for Henry County's road use tax fund. And just to give you a perception or perspective, our property tax that we do on the rural basic side right now, it comes out to about 1.6 million. That is, we utilize for our rock on our roads. So again, you see a big disparity there. What I would tell you, what the index does is, since the last gas tax increase, which was a substantial one when they did that, has been consumed by just the inflation, the cost of business, of what the dollars are. I think it was 2021 is when we saw a big jump in our construction costs. I think it was around 20 to 30% that we were seeing on prices that were coming through, and that's been just kind of eating away at our road use tax. The other side of it, I think it's important to understand, is fuel tax is one part of our road use tax fund. It's roughly 1/3 of the funding. So there's a little chart there. It just shows you registration fees, annual ones, and the new registration fees, how that funds the state as far as the RUTF fund. And then again, remember that we are one small cog in that. That money is distributed based by percentages to the state, for the state roads, to the cities, and to the counties. So the counties is a portion of that percentage. And again, at the bottom of that chart, it shows you just putting in what that would come into the secondary road fund allocation if we did do that 3% indexing. That shows you the dollar amount, what we would anticipate. And again, this is just information. We're not saying, it is a tool or a possible solution, and we are in favor of indexing. We just want to make sure that you can see that the numbers don't necessarily cover everything, but it does help with when we're looking at inflation and cost of stuff. So, yeah. So if you have any questions, just a little blurb on that. And that's it, unless you have anything else for me.
Do you have an update on your excavator?
Yeah, it is the hydraulic pump that was blown or damaged, and so we're still assessing the best course of action, but we are going to be looking at updating our budget. And today, based on the numbers, we would just be moving some numbers from roads to new equipment, and then most likely taking that tractor out of our plans to replace. So adding that tractor and mower, or not adding, replacing that tractor and mower, will probably be put off another year as we start looking at some different options. So we're kind of looking at the whole gamut of what kind of product. We have things that we're going to try to reutilize on the old one, waiting for this new one, but it's going to take us a while to sort through all that as we look at different options.
Are they available?
They are. We can lease or rent one, so you may see us having to rent one in the short term when we have a project that's going to necessitate that. The hours that we put on it, we don't use it every single day, but it is a vital piece of equipment that we do for culvert replacements, clearing operations, and different things like that. So hours, we're somewhere around that. I think it's like 500 to 800 hours that we're putting on that machine a year. And so we do get a life. It was purchased in 2014. So a decent amount of life. The old one before that, I think we had it for 2 extra years. So when we're looking at those options, we just have to figure out what fits us best, and we may end up going with a different brand. We just don't know yet. We're gonna kind of evaluate what's the best use of our dollars at this point. So
Can the grade all machines kind of fill in some of the vacancy with the?
yeah, the grade all is probably our most intricate piece that we use. That's what we use almost every culvert replacement. Typically, if we get into a deeper fill or we have to do a little more channel shaping or stuff coming into, that's where the excavator comes. So pretty much the grade all can get anywhere in our right of way, and a lot of it depends on what kind of conditions we're doing. So we'll still be able to do most of the pipe work. It's just gonna be like,
Okay.
if we do that tank car there on 190th Street that it's in our program that we're looking at ordering, that'd be a project we would probably rent a machine, at that point if we can't get something figured out. And I'll be honest, we'll look at the costs and different things. I'll bring you an update, cause if there's any way that we can get something going for like maybe a rent to own type of thing where you're delaying that payment until July 1st, we'll look at those options as well.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Under the letter C, it's Trenton Emergency Responders Termination of Service and Insurance Coverage. I received this dated on the 17th. It was file stamped in. To whom it may concern, please accept this letter as formal notice of termination of the agreement to provide emergency services between Henry County and Trenton Emergency Responders. It goes on to just say that service will not be available right now. I haven't talked to Marion for a little while to see once insurance issues are worked out, if he would be willing to continue with that. I know they're talking about having a fundraiser to help generate some of his insurance costs, so he can continue business, but we don't know what the status of that is right now. Other business, All-American Sanitation Report on Rural Waste Collection.
All right. Let's talk about trash.
All right, so this is for the month of January. We had about 2,400 visits from county residents, 47.57 ton of trash, 4.71 ton of recycling, 46 tires. We talked to Midwest brokers about the electronics. At first, they weren't going to continue the service because they wanted the TVs and everything stored under roof. Part of that was because it was being stored in Gaylords, which are cardboard boxes. They said the boxes they won't come until there's 12. So they could sit outside for months. And the boxes were falling apart. It was just a mess. We found metal crates that we're gonna put them in. We gave them the measurements. They agreed to continue. They're gonna do 12 crates at a time, and they've agreed to bring those 12 crates back when they come to pick up the next 12. So they were happy about that. Let's see, the motor on the trash compactor. So this winter, by about 4:30, 5 o'clock, it was starting to get pretty dark in there. Mount Pleasant Electric found a broken neutral line. They fixed that, so now we have all the lights on site working. We've had a little bit of feedback from residents. At first, they didn't like the new sign-in policy. That went about 2 or 3 weeks, but since then, they've accepted it. We really haven't had a problem. And the reason we did that is we actually are finding 1 or 2 people a day that come from, Winfield or Wayland or Mount Pleasant to bring stuff in, which doesn't seem like a lot, but you get 1 or 2 a day over time. That does add up, and the county pays for it. So I think we're going to just keep doing that. We thought about maybe stopping that after we got to know people, but being that everybody's kind of relaxed to that policy, we also found it slowed people down coming into the site because now that they know they got to stop and sign in, they're not running 15 or 20 mile per hour in. So we did slow people down a little bit. Let's see. The glass isn't recycled anymore. I know the last company had a trash can there to throw the glass into. It all ends up in the trash. So instead of throwing a bunch of glass into one pocket in those compactors, especially if it's towards the end of a load, that glass just falls out the back. The diaper can only hold so much in. So we are getting people used to just mix it in with your trash so there's not a big pockets of glass inside them compactors. We've had lots of positive feedback from residents on the cleanliness and smoothness of operation. Many enjoy having help from my workers. I have received several calls from residents praising Pam and Jim for their courtesy and professionalism, and we've received quite a bit. So they even get treats sometimes. They've even been offered tips. So not taking the tips, but they have been offered tips for the help. So that's nice to see. These guys work hard. Pam's well, Pam's not there right now, but she'll be there at about 11, so. We've had several residents appreciate the 7:30 opening time because they can drop their trash before they go to work, rather than keeping it in their car all day, either till lunch or till they get off, especially as it gets warm. They enjoy not having that trash sitting in their hot car. So we've had a little bit of problem with dumpster diving. People wanting to get metal and tires out. I think we've got it under control. We had a couple that didn't take no for an answer for a couple of times there, but I think they finally realized it's just not gonna happen. I think it's a liability on us and for you guys if someone gets hurt trying to dig stuff out of those dumpsters. So, now we have several questions about sharps and where to take them if they're a business or a city resident. I'm not sure if the city has a plan for that. The sheriff's office and emergency management have had the same questions. Do you guys know, does the city have a drop site for these sharps? And TVs and electronics are the same way. We've had several people show up, city residents wanting to know what to do with their TVs or their electronics. Now I know the city has a recycle spot back behind the old Motorola building, and it's open Wednesdays and Fridays from 8 to 3, or at least that's when it's manned, 8 to 3 Wednesdays and Fridays. I'm not sure if they take sharps or electronics there or not. So I guess I'm asking you guys, do you know where the city residents can take these, or businesses? We've even had businesses come and drop them. It says we're not supposed to take those, but we don't know what to tell them, so.
I live in the country, so I don't know what the city services
Right.
do offer. I can do some checking and get back with you then.
Yeah, and I've called the hospital. The hospital has their own service, and they do not take outside sharps, even if they're in the correct containers. So, but I'm still gonna try and figure out something for that as well, figure out where they can take these. So, but there's gotta be some place they can take them. I mean, it doesn't cost anything to take those, other than our time to run them down, but they don't charge for it or
As
anything.
far as the sharps,
What's that?
as far as the sharps.
As the sharps, yes,
Sharps, yeah.
just for sharps, yeah. So yeah,
No,
I think that's all I have.
I can figure, I can get an answer for you somehow,
Okay.
what that would be.
And what did you say the tonnage was for January, trash?
47.57 ton.
Pretty normal.
Yeah, yep. By past totals for the years, that's about 50 ton a month is what it seems
Well,
to be pretty close.
that speaks up later, so we're averaging around 70 or 40 a
Okay.
year.
All right. So,
So when it comes to monitors and TVs, previously, we had something that we were gathering those in, and then Iowa City was.
that's the Midwest Computer Brokers.
Right. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
So that's covered then.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So does that company have those baskets or?
No, I have them.
Those are your baskets?
Yes, I was able to procure them. Yep.
Okay.
So.
Appreciate it, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Moving to other business, just kind of a heads up. It's my understanding that the Conservation Commission and the Preserve Oakland Mills Bridge have been working on getting a liability disclaimer issue put together. And I understand that is in the works anyway. It hasn't been completed, I don't think, but it's in the works. It sounds like it was a go anyway, so. Yet to be known on how that works out. They were kinda under a time crunch to be eligible for some funding, that they were gonna use for the bridge inspection itself, so. I think that'll work out for them, so. Anything else that are? Okay. Public comment.
Yes, I have a comment.
Hang on. Go ahead.
I'm Tracy Lamb with the Hawkeye. Just a couple of, not comments, but a question about the potential for your special election. I was running my mouth back here, so are you meeting tomorrow or Monday about that? didn't catch the date.
At least you're honest, right?
Try to be. So what is that date for that meeting? Tomorrow at
10:30.
10:30. Okay, so my next question, if there is a petition, what's the minimum number of signatures? I know it's based on your last municipal election turnout, correct?
566.
Yep.
566 that's the minimum. Okay. I think that's it. Thanks.
Marilyn?
Yes. She pretty much answered half my question.
Yep.
Well, you guys did. She asked it. Well, my question is, in the meantime, while this is sorted out, who is working? I know we don't have an official interim attorney. Is the assistant attorney taking over those duties at the moment? What attorneys does the county have at their disposal until a position has been filled?
Well, right now, we have 2 assistant county attorneys, and they are both in place, both working. There is another staff person in that office that is still on board and is working. Okay? That answer what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Comment.
Yes, sir.
My name's Richard Wilson. Before I ever moved here to Henry County, I was interviewing as pastor for the Winfield Open Bible Church. Before I ever moved here, I started hearing comments about the county attorney's office, the inability to get prosecutions taken care of, how crime in certain areas of the county was just let go, it seemed, even though oftentimes it seemed like it was minor crime. And there's a lot of resentment out there in the county. I've been from south of the county to the north of the county, from the east to the west. Comments I'm hearing from people is that there is a great antipathy, a kind of revulsion with the office that Darren Stater held. Unfortunately for Miss Abby, she doesn't have the political acumen to understand that when she was hired on by Darren Stater, she ended up getting tainted by his reputation. And so there is a consistent need that I'm hearing from the county residents. And this is a need that I never solicited. It's something that my wife was surprised at when she went to court in another county and was addressed by another attorney and says, "You live in Henry County? Please, would you be interested in running for county attorney against this man?" She had no intention to run for office. But consistently, we've been hearing the problems that have been going on in this county. I will tell you honestly that some of the people are looking to you as being responsible for the reason that the county attorney ran his office as a private fiefdom in this county without supervision, not even required to attend supervisors meeting and report to this board. It's up to you. But I'm going to tell you something very seriously. This woman's got 17 years of legal experience. Miss Abby, she's got 1.5 years. She's still wet behind the ears legally. She has neither the life experience nor the legal experience to truly qualify as county attorney. My wife has decided to run for office, not because she seeks recognition, but because she seeks righteous government. She seeks to have the laws enforced. Now, gentlemen, you've been elected to office. You've been elected to be leaders. So be leaders. Now, if you choose wrong, the electorate's going to correct your error, either by voting you out of office or calling for a special election to correct your mistake. But lead. That's what the people of this county want. If you don't want to do that, resign your seat. Let someone else take it.
Mr. Wilson, I will address that a little bit. Typically, we don't get involved. I want you to look up who has authority over another elected official. I just want you to look that up, okay? And then just go from there. So, thank you.
Yeah, speaking of that,
is this gonna set a precedence? If any other elected official resigns or is incapacitated, are you gonna straight go to a special election? Or do you hold the county attorney office in a different regard from the treasurer, the recorder, the auditor? Here recently, you had a department head resignation. You went through the due process, the application process, an interview process, and you hired. Why is this any different? That's all I have.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm kinda confused about what role Tim Lethe was playing in here last week. He's concerned citizen, loving father, friend of Stater. Maybe he wants to be a star in the new sitcom, All in the Family, I don't know. But he made it clear, I watched the video again, but he made it clear that he doesn't think his daughter's gonna survive without his support, and that's why he was here. And yeah, talk about conflict of interest and nepotism, he had to contact a senior judge.
They didn't
But
finish
it's there.
answering the last question.
Excuse me,
Hey.
no interruptions.
Never mind.
Yeah, I would ask,
We don't interject and we don't usually comment on public comments, Marilyn, so.
But anyhow, Stater was elected to serve through 2026, the end of this year. And he saw the writing on the wall. He was not going to get reelected. It wasn't going to happen. And to duck out just to get a job, and yeah, he needs a job, but he had a commitment here. And he reneged on it, didn't he? So anyhow, and then he brings in his a friend of his daughter to serve, and I don't know, but it looks like they had a plan. Anyhow, Lethe goes on and says, Paris of Stater knew that he would never, well, I said that, okay. He mentions the tax on the county attorney, yeah, whatever, had it coming, but the county attorney came in here to attack you guys, didn't he? I remember that. Okay, and he says, I lost my place for a minute. Current county, former courthouse staff, disgruntled for years, whatever, blames it on the watchman. No, I don't think so. I can tell you for a fact that when Derek Wellington resigned, there were several staffers from the courthouse had a resignation party for him. Yeah. And like a going away party, but they didn't invite him, so they were pretty tickled that he was gone. Last Sunday, we came to town for lunch, and this guy got behind me just in the restaurant. And I'll tell you, people are watching this. This guy got behind me and he said, hey, next time you go to the meeting, mention that sanitation scandal. Now, maybe a couple of you don't remember that, but I know one of you does. But these scandals have got to stop. It just costs us money. So, anyhow, I can tell you there are people that trust the watchman more than they trust some of you people. Sorry, that's just the way it is. And we should have had watchmen years ago. Anyhow, I'm going to quit.
thank you. Anything further? Yeah. Myers?
I also have concerns about the magistrate's little speech that he gave. I'm not going to comment more than that I have downloaded the Iowa Code of Judicial Conduct because I think he may have crossed the line into political maneuvering for his daughter by his negative comments to her opponent. But I'm going to go through this very carefully and look at it some more. I also have concerns about Robin's use of her discretion. I didn't know she had so much discretion over a potential special election. And my concern is that I don't know if you guys resolved this or not, but her withholding the resignation letter from you. I went through the code, and the code said that just because you put something in a personnel folder does not mean the public doesn't have access to it. Well, if the public may have access to it, why would the supervisors not have access? Particularly when there are questions that may come back to bite the supervisors in that she is living with her supervisor or her former supervisor. So I think you have every right. In fact, I would think you have a due diligence to look at that resignation letter and see what's in it. And that's the end of my comments.
I have a question on your agenda today. There was a letter A under unfinished business said rescind motion to appoint interim county attorney. That is not an action item, or?
That would be an action item. We can't take an action today.
Okay. So what motion was that? When was that motion made?
12th, I believe, wasn't it?
That would have been Thursday. I rewatched the video. There was no motion made during that discussion.
I'd have to go back and look at it, but I thought it was the 12th.
Yeah, we don't have the minutes to validate or verify that. It was
Okay.
an agenda item number 5 under unfinished business on February 12th. But again, to your point, there's no minutes to really substantiate where we are with it.
Okay.
So we'll have to follow up on that.
I have another question. Then also on the website, there are 2 things listed for future minutes.
Wrong dates.
One was the wrong date and one is also an agenda. So if we're supposed to be posting agendas for people to see and it's listed as minutes. So I'm not sure where that error came from.
Those were noted.
Okay. And changed, so they'll be showing up correctly on there?
They will be corrected. When the
Website,
webmaster
right.
gets the chance.
Okay,
But yeah, that has been brought to the attention.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, future dates, I mean,
Right.
how do you do that?
When I got interrupted, I lost my place, but just think about what happened the first of the year last year, when Steve Dietrich came in here and we started cleaning things up. Okay, the watchmen, they were behind that and everything. But before that, with the old board, the monthly updates was just like a ritual, like making coffee for the cupcake party or something. I mean, it just didn't amount to anything. But now, we got a chance to get this thing cleaned up, so let's not waste it.
Thank you. Anything further? Hearing nothing, Ben, do you have anything further?
I do not.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been properly motioned and seconded to adjourn the meeting, so we go back to adjourn at 10:10.